What's good? It's your boy Fanon. Welcome back to the channel, subscribers. To people who are not subscribed, thank you for watching the videos. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also when we do the live streams, have been doing them in the morning lately. Been real good shows. So a lot of fun for me, a lot of fun for people in the comment section. So I hope you would attend. Also, thank you to everybody who donates to the channel through Venmo and Super Chat. It is much, much appreciated. And so let's get to it. Terence Crawford and Danny Garcia are going back and forth on Twitter. Terence Crawford snaps off on Danny Garcia, and he should, because Danny Garcia, in my mind, is one of these. There's two welterweights, in my opinion, that went straight Hollywood. And they were two guys that fought each other and I think they did like 5 million viewers on, I can't remember if it was CBS or ABC, but that's Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. But Danny Garcia, ego and his sense of self-worth is got to be the highest of all of the welterweight contenders, champions / contenders. Because right now he's a contender. And he has always said things like, these guys need to fight each other. And then I'll fight the winner of them, as if Danny Garcia is the end of the road or should be the reward for the other contenders / champions fighting each other. He even said that about Errol Spence Jr., how he needed to fight. I can't remember who he needed to fight, but fight somebody else. And then after Errol Spence Jr. fought and beat somebody, I can't remember the name of the person, then the winner of them could fight Danny Garcia. Meanwhile, Danny Garcia has absolutely no belts. He's coming off, he's not coming off a loss. He beat Brandon Rios, but his sense of himself is just, it's just very, very high, man. And it's too high. I think he's a good fighter, but what Terence Crawford says about him is 100% on point. So let me go through that and then just talk about the whole prima donna. He's just got some serious prima donna fighters in boxing, and I think Danny Garcia is one of the top of them. So on Crawford's social media site, and I don't know whether this was, Twitter or Instagram, he says, Danny Swift keeps saying everybody need to fight each other. Like MF, you fight me. I would say after you fight against Porter, but then again, I don't even know if you're going to win this fight. You real life must have bumped your head and lost your mind like you don't know who I really am. Danny Swift, you didn't you didn't do what I did at 140. Crawford said, I was undisputed light welterweight champion, something you never did. I fought the guy, Victor Postal, you were scared to fight. I came up to welterweight in my first fight and fought a champion, Jeff Horn. I didn't need no tune-up fight or get handed a belt. So, I mean, my take on that is, first of all, I think that Danny Garcia has a very solid resume as far as a fighter. The people he beat at 140 pounds, I think that those were legitimate cats. He beat Lucas Matisse when Matisse was the big boogeyman. He beat Amir Khan before Amir Khan, glass jaw was completely exposed. He was a good champion at 140 pounds. And I think that Danny Garcia, he showed really well against Keith Thurman as well. And I think Keith Thurman until Keith Thurman went on his hiatus, his injury, marriage, fluke playing hiatus, Keith Thurman could be considered the top welterweight. Probably should still be considered the top welterweight until proven otherwise. But, we know I'm not going to go down that road, but because we all know what that is. But Danny Garcia, I mean, he's had a good career. He's a legitimate champion. He does do very solid numbers in for his viewership on Showtime. He does good numbers as far as when he fights in New York in the Barclays Center, right? And as a Philly fighter, man, dude's a really, really solid fighter. And I would love to see Terence Crawford versus Danny Garcia. And I think it would be great as a battle of guys who probably could have fought each other, or, I guess I have to look at the timing of it, but guys that, both were the top guy at 140 pounds and are now at 147 pounds. I would love to see that fight. Now, Terence Crawford saying, that he should take that fight if he beats Sean Porter and wins the WBC belt. I'm not so big on that because I want to see Errol Spence in the winner of that fight. Now, that's just personal reasons because Errol Spence Jr. is the longer reigning he's the longer reigning champion. Not that that's been that long, but he's longer reigning than Terence Crawford. He's been at the weight class. He's put in more work than Terence Crawford at 147 pounds. He's been calling for Danny Garcia and calling for Sean Porter, and he's got his eye on the WBC belt. I'd like to see that wrapped up. The person that I would really like to see Terence Crawford fight, I'd like to see Terence Crawford fight Mikey Garcia if Mikey Garcia was moving up to 147 pounds. Or, regardless with Terence Crawford, it's just going to be real tough for him to make any of those fights at 147 pounds. Not because guys wouldn't want to fight him, or not that he's a big name and people know him, because everybody knows Terence Crawford in the boxing world. Just like the same people that know Terence Crawford, know Danny Garcia, know Errol Spence Jr. Everybody in that weight division, at the top of that weight division, has about the same amount of name recognition as the other guys. The only person whose name in the welterweight division stands out any bigger than anybody else's, amongst those top level guys, is Manny Pacquiao. And that's because of, the road that Manny Pacquiao's been on, the years of work that he's put on, the big mega fights that he's participated in, and the fact that he really does have global stature. But none of these guys in the 147 pounds really stand head and shoulders above anybody else. And that include as far as like their name recognition. Now, you have people who are headed on an upward trajectory, and you have people who are where they've been, and you have people that are on the downslide as far as their career momentum goes. Errol Spence Jr. I think has the most momentum, upward momentum. Terence Crawford, I think, is growing. I don't think his popularity and excitement with boxing fans is growing as fast as Errol Spence's is, but still it is growing, and he keeps accomplishing things, and his reputation as a fighter, and what he's accomplished in the different weight divisions that he's fought is up there. I believe is up there with anybody in boxing as far as what he's accomplished and his overall skill in the ring. But Danny Garcia is on the slide. People aren't really excited about it. There's several people whose reputations have been taking huge hits. And that the two main ones are Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia. Because they had Danny Garcia, I think Danny Garcia really lost his momentum at 140 pounds when he chose to fight that time when he was at that catch weight time. In between 140 in 147 when he fought Rod Salka and when he fought Mauricio Herrera. Also taking on fights like Brandon Rios when you could have fought Errol Spence. That doesn't bode well for you, man, as far as having people really being interested in you and saying, that this guy really takes on the best fighters. I mean, he looked good to me in the fight against Brandon Rios. But he could have fought. He was called out by the IBF champion. He didn't take the IBF champion being Errol Spence Jr. He didn't take that fight because he had this prima donna attitude that Errol Spence Jr. needed to grow his name and be better known than he was currently. Although Errol Spence Jr. is as well known as Danny Garcia was then. And like I said, his trajectory is up now. So, I would love for what Terence Crawford is asking for to come to fruition. Again, I would rather see Danny Garcia, the winner of Danny Garcia, Sean Porter fight Errol Spence Jr. And if Mikey Garcia was going to move up in weight and want to take somebody at 147, though if Errol Spence Jr. and those guys want that fight, that's cool. It'll happen. It'll be a good fight while it lasts. I could see Mikey Garcia, winning some rounds early on before he really gets beat up, right? But I think a fight with Terence Crawford, because Terence Crawford really doesn't have anywhere to go at 147 with Top Rank. If Bob Arum continues to act like Bob Arum's been acting recently. There was a time, however, in defense of Bob Arum, that Bob Arum was willing to put his fighters in with other guys, right? I do believe that Oscar De La Hoya, when he was with Top Rank, when he fought Tito. I think he was in Top Rank. He was at Top Rank when he fought Shane Mosley. I know that he was, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. was a little bit long in the tooth when he faced him, but he was willing to do that before. So maybe with this new ESPN deal that Bob Arum has, that he might be willing to do that. But, but I definitely think that Mikey Garcia and these guys need to try to push to make those fight happen. But we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, man, the point of this video is that, man, Danny Garcia really is a prima donna. I think that Terence Crawford is 100% on point with this. But at the same time, while I admit that Danny Garcia is a prima donna, he's a prima donna that can fight. Danny Garcia is not easy money for anybody. And I do think that a fight with Terence Crawford and Danny Garcia would be very entertaining. And unlike Terence Crawford, I have Danny Garcia beating Sean Porter. I just think Danny Garcia is a better fighter, and eventually he's really going to catch Sean Porter, and he's got enough power, even at 147, in that left hook to really catch and wake that dude up. So anyway, we'll see what happens, and with that, I'm out. Peace.